You're listening to Well Met,
Well Met,
a Hearthstone podcast brought to you by BlizzPro.com.
Well Met.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 129 of Well Met. We are a Hearthstone podcast brought to you by BlizzPro.com. Today is October 29 kilometers. Is that what it is? 29th? Is that what it is? 23rd kilometers. 2017.
Yeah.
From Studio 6 in Denver, Colorado, I'm John Horseman. Hey. And with me, of course, is everybody this week. Let's hop on over to our Kansas City Royals fan in Kansas City. It's JR Cook. Hi, JR. Take two.
Yeah. No, I was here earlier giving my whole spiel, and the stream couldn't hear me, so take two. I'm here again. But yeah, no, I missed you guys last week. Had a work thing I had to go to, but there's a lot of Hearthstone stuff this week, and a lot of fun things we can start doing predictions with, because BlizzCon is coming up.
BlizzCon is coming up real soon, and we're going to be talking about that for sure. But let's jump over to Nashua, New Hampshire, with the one and only Danny D. Danny Donuts. I always want to call you Danny D, but it's Danny Donuts.
Danny D's great. That's a great nickname.
I don't mind
Great
calling you
abbreviation.
Danny D. I don't mind calling you Danny D. I'm worried people won't know you as Danny Donuts and then go find you on Twitter and Twitch. So
Yeah, it's close
at
enough.
least for the beginning,
You'll know
I need
that
to call
Danny
you
is
Danny
Danny
D.
Donuts.
Fair enough.
I'm still gonna call you Danny D, but it's not because of the donuts.
Oh.
All right. Well, congratulations, Ray. This is the only show you're going to make it into the top 4 on this week.
Oh
Hey,
boy.
buddy. And from somewhere else in like New Hampshire, it's Racy. Hey, Ray.
What up, John? That hurt, man. That still stings. I'm still hungover from the trip. Come on, man.
You put so much into it. Yeah.
I know, I did, and I failed. I lost to Ike. I lost to Ant. Or not Ant. I don't know why I said Ant. Ant wasn't there. He was at TwitchCon. Why did I say Ant? I lost to Ike. I lost to my friend Matrick. And then I lost to Teebs on stream. It was sad. I tried, but just couldn't get there this time.
You get it next time. What's the next tournament you play in?
I believe the next tournament is probably going to be the next LAN is probably going to be Seed Story Cup next month, but I play in a 10K tomorrow, actually. I play in this big Geico tournament tomorrow.
Will that be streamed?
Yes, on Geico Gaming.
Cool.
Is Dr. J casting that?
He casted today. I was supposed to cast today with Just Saying, but I had to do stuff. I had plans in real life that I didn't want to cancel. So
This show.
Well,
This show.
this show was part of it. It was part of it, actually. I didn't want to cancel on the show, and I already had stuff to do earlier. I actually went to a corn maze earlier, and then
Got lost.
we got lost. We got lost because we were in it for like an hour, and then we were just like so confused. And then my girlfriend was like, "Why don't you just stream it? We have nothing better to do." And I was like, "Yeah, that's a good idea." So I IRL streamed myself lost in a corn maze, and then after like another 2 hours, when we figured out we had no idea what we were doing, and we were getting way too tired to keep going. We found an emergency exit at some point, and we looked yonder, and we realized we weren't even halfway done the maze after like 3 hours. And the guy said it was supposed to take like 20 minutes.
You got to play aggro in that maze and just start.
And you wonder why you don't get top 16.
Okay, dude.
He roped the maze is what he did.
I I guess, dude. I was ready to die. I was so tired. It took a lot out of me. I was ready to just go home and take a nap, but I didn't. I'm here for you guys.
Well, thank you, Ray. Thank you guys for being here. We've got a really fun show. But first, as always, let's talk about our weeks, what we've been up to there. Danny, what have you been up to, man? Have you hit that legend yet?
Not really. This week in Hearthstone, I didn't really play too much. The only really Hearthstone-related thing that I did was I went to a fireside gathering that we had in Salem, New Hampshire. So I went there. It was really cool. We had around 30 to 40 people in the Microsoft store hanging out there. On my device, it said that there was it was like 100 plus at the store, but there was only 40 in there in person. So a lot of people spoofed their GPSs there. Like at least more than 100, which was crazy.
Nice.
Oh, dude, I was at a fireside at DreamHack, and there were apparently also 1,000 other people there. But you know, that was a real small room to hold 1,000 people. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't think they were all real people. And I didn't actually even get the hero because my phone couldn't load a game because there was no Wi-Fi.
I've been hearing about that. We're going to talk about this in the news, but I want to hear you guys because you guys have all been at a fireside gathering this past week, and I want to hear your success rate for getting the non-lore Nemsy Necrofizzle. See if you got it. But Ray, other than the DreamHack Denver, what have you been up to?
Well, I would say that I've mainly just been practicing for tournaments. So outside of that, Hearthstone-wise, I really want to start creating content more. I streamed like almost every single day the week before I left, so that was pretty cool. It was a lot of fun. Ate some Pokemon cards, just the normal routine, you know. But yeah, outside of that, I guess now it's time to start doing more stuff in the off time after BlizzCon.
Cool. What about you, JR? What's been going on, man?
I've been playing really casual lately. Just because with BlizzCon coming up and earlier this month being busy and then being out of town for a bit, I'm just like, I'm just gonna play for fun, and just try out some different decks. I'm not gonna worry too much about laddering. Just mess around, and by messing around, I mean I've been playing the top tier meta decks, and just crushing at rank 16.
You jerk.
I mean, sometimes the meta decks are just fun, man.
I mean, so all I do is I've been playing the rogue deck with Kelseth, and I'm just like, let's see how many times I can return them back to my hand. And you don't like, it's kind of funny how many times you get like turn one and you play them with the coin and you shadow step them back and play them again, and the other person just concedes. It's like the quickest win.
I mean, they're just saving time. They know it's up.
Yeah, they know it's over. But
unless you're bluffing, did you guys see Mr. Yagut? He went and he put a backstab over his Kelseth, and he baited the other person into conceding.
Nice.
That's funny.
I will try that. I'll try that after this as well. But no, I've been playing that, having fun with it. But we have if you're in the Kansas City area and you're listening, we also have a fireside gathering that's happening this weekend. Over at SoPro Gaming in Overland Park. It's being put on by KC Firesides. So go check out kcfiresides.com for information on that. I do believe there is a cost to join, to get in. And it's I believe it's bring your own beer, and it's 21 plus. So but they have a whole like land center that they're renting out for several hours on Saturday night. I don't remember what time it starts, so just check that out if you're interested in going. I'll be there.
Awesome. As for me, I did not get a whole lot of Hearthstone in this past week. Got a little bit on the travel days, but besides that, I was at TwitchCon last week. We did a panel on Saturday called Podcasting on Twitch, Finding Your Sound, Your Style, and Your Community. It was with myself, Total Biscuit, and Chanman V. You probably know of Chanman V from the Overview and Value Town for Hearthstone and Overwatch podcasts. And then Total Biscuit, you know, because you go outside. No, I'm just kidding. He does the co-optional podcast. He was really big with StarCraft and some other video games, and he's been doing that for a long time. And so when Pat Crane couldn't make it, he stepped in. I think it was a great panel, especially if you're interested at all in podcasting and in live streaming. I think it was really, really beneficial, really great. So we did that. TwitchCon was a blast. Partied a little too hard, probably. But besides that, yeah.
Real quick, John, is there a video of that panel?
Yes. Yeah. I don't know the exact one. There, Gizmazord from the Lords of the Storm guys tweeted it out, and I retweeted it, but I haven't copied the link. But it is out there. Probably check my Twitter, and you'll find it. It is all there, and that stays up there for a while. So,
yeah, I highly recommend checking that out for sure if you're interested in podcasting at all. I watched it, and it was very informational. There's a lot of great stuff in it. And, man, Total Biscuit, like, I could listen to him talk about anything, to be honest. Like, the guy's kind of a jerk sometimes, but he is so intelligent and just a great... I mean, he's a great dude. Don't get me wrong, but he can also be a jerk sometimes, but I can listen to him all the time.
He's very opinionated. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He was great, too. He was really great and easy to work with, and we were kind of worried throwing the panel information at him last minute, and he's really articulate, really intelligent, made it a really easy panel. So, yeah.
I have been following him for a while because of he had that whole, I mean, he still is fighting it, but the cancer ordeal. Yeah. So I kind of, that resonated with me a lot since I had that same similar type as he did back in the day. So I actually know him from like a long time ago when I was just looking on YouTube. I was just watching YouTube because I had nothing to do when I was just chilling. And then that actually, this is a little deep for me, but that like actually kind of was inspiring.
Yeah.
The fact that the fact that he had similar problems and was able to be happy and just create content and kind of kick ass.
Yeah. He was on the H3H3 podcast this week as well. Talked a lot more about his battle with different illnesses and what that looks like. And I haven't gotten to watch it yet.
I highly recommend everybody watch that as well.
But it's on the very top of my YouTube watch list. So, and it should be for yours too. So,
yeah, that stuff really resonates with me. So It's really cool to see somebody that's in a similar situation, like how they handle it.
Yeah, and he was really graceful the entire convention. Anywhere I saw him, he was really great. So
I'm assuming he's a lot. It's not like an act or anything. Like he's just a genuinely good dude.
On mic, off mic, as far as what I saw, which I only saw maybe 3 hours worth of him, and it's in a con. It's in a very public place, but indistinguishable from everything that he's been doing on screen, in front of a mic, and off screen. So, yeah, he's a really genuine guy. So, yeah. Anyways, you guys want to talk about some news?
I would like to talk about some news.
All right, let's hit the thing.
This week in Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft.
All right, Nemzi debacle, as Danny D calls it. What's going on here?
Yeah, so Nemzi has Reddit up in a roar. So the fireside gatherings, just because it's the echo chamber, a lot of people are saying that things are going wrong. Blizzard, the creation of the fireside gatherings was a little bit confusing for some people. Some fireside gatherings were made, one in particular, outside this guy's parents' house, and a bunch of people are randomly going up to the parents' house, knocking on the door, stuff like that. So it's it's a mixed bag with the thing. Obviously, being able to go to a fireside gathering and having 30 to 40 people there, it was a really cool experience. So actually experiencing it, I think that I had a good time out of it. Although I definitely realized that there were a lot of people abusing it. People were going around like there was 100 people or more, because it was 100 plus. There was probably much more people at the event, like registering it through like different types of like spoofs and stuff. So it's interesting to see how that's going. I wanted to get everyone's opinion on that.
Well, I was also at a fireside gathering this past weekend at DreamHack, and there were definitely people spoofing into the location. It was blatantly obvious there was way too many people for that. There was no way there were other people like at the hotel like checking into the fireside that were just like in like another, you know what I mean? Like, no, they were obviously spoofed in. And I mean, it sucks to know that you actually had to go there and like put in the effort to do it. But at the same time, if you go there, I feel like it's pretty rewarding. You get to hang out with like-minded people, other people who really enjoy the game just like you do. And the people who spoof in, I don't know, I feel kind of bad for them on some level because they're not getting the experience. But I can also see it from the point of view, well, if you actually don't have any firesides near you, like you can always spoof into a location even though it's kind of unfair. So I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I don't think it's like you spoofed your location to get the Nimsy hero, you should go to Blizzard jail. Like, I don't think it's that bad, actually. I just kind of feel bad for the people who don't actually get to go because they're really fun.
In my opinion, this was a promotion to get people to try out something that is actually a really good thing. Like, I have had so much fun at fireside gatherings. I have had fun putting together fireside gatherings. I've had fun going to fireside gatherings. Every fireside gathering I've been to has been a blast. I get to meet people that I may not have ever met before that like the same things that I do, and get to play some Hearthstone, maybe drink some beers, and things like that. And I think Reddit blows it completely out of proportion, and that the kids on there need to grow up.
Yeah. I actually had a discussion with Che Chow, if you guys know who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was talking on Reddit, or not Reddit, on Twitter with me about the fact that he wants to implement more fireside gathering type things and encourage real life Hearthstone, like playing it in real life, getting out of your house, going to a venue of some type, and just having a more social aspect to the game, like real life card games. And I think that that's really cool that they want to go in that kind of direction where they're going to have, I mean, we don't know that they're going to have more real life stuff, but like that's in the pipeline. Because that, to me, those are some of the most fun experiences that I have in the game, is when I actually get out of my house and am able to go somewhere somewhat local, like the mall that our fireside gatherings are at, and just see a bunch of people that I would have never met otherwise, and sometimes make new friends, stuff like that. It sounds cliche, but I feel like the people who complain on Reddit are just people who are really antisocial and don't want to go out of their house, and also just want to complain for the sake of complaining.
Yeah. And here's the thing, like if someone wants to spoof and go to a fireside gathering, whatever, I really don't care. If they want to get around that promotion to do that, that's fine. Because other promotions, there have been ways to get around as well. Like the iPhone one. If you didn't have an iPhone, you can just borrow someone's. You can get an iPad try out someone's iPad and get it. If you didn't have an Android to get like the card back or whatever, you can just download an emulator and go that route. And I've done that before with some of the items because I didn't have the specific device needed. And I just don't see a problem with doing that, like spoofing a GPS to go. But I totally agree with Ray that it's more about like they miss out on the experience. They miss out on the entire point of these are actually like really legit good events, and go to them, try them out. If there's none near you, make your own. Yeah, it's gonna be you're gonna have to put in a little bit of time to do it, but don't do it just because you want a an alternate hero. Do it because it's something you will probably enjoy, and that's the real reason behind this.
But I feel like people go with the intention of I just want to get the skin, and then they get there and then they actually really enjoy themselves, and that's kind of why they have the special promotion, is to get to that point. And a lot of people don't like that or realize that, or just don't care for it. The culture in Hearthstone is so different from every other competitive card game community. Competitive gamers for Magic, Pokemon, other card games I played, you're traveling every single weekend. You're seeing people in real life to play this game every single time you want to play, basically. So Hearthstone culture is I want to sit on my computer at home and play it at home, and I don't want to leave the house, and I want to be in my comfort zone. They're trying to get you out of that comfort zone and change the culture a little bit and make it a more social game. And I think that's scary for a lot of people.
Yeah. It's really interesting to me. The way that I kind of look at it is every single promotion that I can really think of, there's been some sort of exclusion or some certain amount of people who can't get this, or at least can't get this right away. We had the Samsung Galaxy Gifts one, right? Where you needed a Samsung phone, or you emulated in, and then iOS, grab a buddy's thing during, whatever it was, like with the Wildlife Foundation week or whatever. And that's how you would kind of skirt by it. I actually didn't emulate the Samsung one just out of principle, because that's meant for people who had the Samsung phones. I don't have one. And I feel like it would be hypocritical for me to say, down the line, this is perfect. It would be hypocritical for me to say, you should be able to just bypass and spoof and do that stuff. At the end of the day, there's a few things. Like the people who legitimately can't make it because of distance, there's nothing around them, I empathize with. I get it.
If you're in a rural area, you're 16, you don't even have a vehicle, you're younger or something like that. I totally get it.
So I get it. At the same time, I don't think it justifies what they're looking at doing, and I don't encourage it. In fact, on average, hero portraits are what, $15 is what they sold for, right? The original Magni, I thought it was 15.
I think it was 10. No, it was 10. It was 10, and Khadgar was 5.
Right. So, $10, the way I look at it is if you have a fireside gathering within $10 of gas from you, I feel very strongly that you should be going to that fireside gathering. If you don't, then it becomes more expensive. I would even say like within $15. But there's also a part of it, the people who have fireside gatherings near them and spoof it anyway, I don't know if I want to hang out with them at a fireside gathering, if I'm being honest.
That's fair.
I'm going to be totally legit. I have no idea how that process even works. So, I know what it is, but I have no idea, how so many people, I guess you just look it up, but it just seems so much work for something that's just go to the fireside gathering.
I don't know. Anyways, we probably spent a little bit too much time on this already. Let's talk about some more news going on. Quick reminder, Twitch Prime, if you got a Twitch Prime membership, or if you have an Amazon Prime membership and attach it to your Twitch account, you get some cool perks, and every once in a while you get some Blizzard stuff. Right now there's some loot crates and loot boxes and a golden Hearthstone card pack, not back, pack with a P, that you can get that has what's the special thing? Are they all
so it
all
says that you're gonna
cards?
get 6 cards and they're all gonna be golden.
Yeah. So
Yep.
Yeah.
And that
And that's
opens
supposed
up
to come out
after BlizzCon, right?
Yeah, it's between when BlizzCon starts and November 8th when it starts.
another
So, yeah.
advantage. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just gonna say, remind people to make sure that if you're getting like an Amazon Prime account or something, to do it for that time.
Another
If you don't have it.
advantage of this is that you do get a free sub every month to your favorite streamer like BlizzPro or Ray Steve or myself. So you can do that as well, get some cool emotes. There's a lot of cool perks. If you've got Amazon Prime and Twitch and you haven't attached it, you're missing out on some cool stuff. So definitely go ahead and do that. Last but not least, JR, I'm going to have you take this one. So we've got some like digital gifting stuff going on now with Battle.net, right?
Yeah, so Battle.net announced or released some new features on their new client, or not their new client, but they released some new features on their client. So they released some new like social features. So we finally have Appear Offline. That's a big deal. So I'm sure that those laddering last minute will appreciate that, on being able to appear offline so that their friends can't see when they're queuing up for their next match.
No more sniping, baby.
No more sniping. So that's kind of
Only on
nice.
Watchstone.
Yeah. So that's a big deal. And then the gifting that John alluded to, you can now gift card packs to people, to your friends. You can go buy the card packs, and then they'll see it pop up in their Battle.net launcher, and they'll get those packs.
Your gifts, by the way.
What's that?
Said I accept your gifts, by the way.
I too accept the gifts. Wink, wink.
But no, that's pretty cool too. And by celebrating, everybody got gifted one pack, one classic pack. So definitely go and get that. The other feature that I don't think really anybody talks about, that I discovered a little bit in Hearthstone, because someone added me and decided to, after a game, and decided to be kind of a jerk. Like what happens. You can go over to the Battle.net client and see, like, it saves the conversation there, and there's a nice little report button. I don't know if anything will happen, but that person definitely got reported. So
nice.
There's that.
Awesome.
All right, I'm gonna have to watch what I say now.
That's so I actually got flamed. The worst I've ever gotten flamed in Hearthstone this past week. We have on our Well Met Discord, which, by the way, you can check out at discord.me/wellmetpodcast. On our Well Met Discord, we have an anecdotal salt channel. That's where we go when everyone's like, this is so unbalanced. We're like, take it to the anecdotal salt channel. And also just kind of random stuff like that. And this guy just went off. And it was funny to me. I was playing a pretty like cheeky deck. So I don't play hard decks when I'm on mobile, just because you end up getting too many cards in your hand. It's kind of hard to track. I like faster games. So I was playing Tempo Rogue. This guy was playing some super cheesy Control Warrior, like double public defenders. That's the 2 mana 0/7, right?
Yeah, taunt. Yep.
Yeah, with taunt. And on turn 3, he played a public defender. And then on turn 4, he had that card that gives you +4/+4. Forget what it's called. And instead of playing so he played that on turn 2, and then I killed it. And then because he didn't get that +4/+4 on that taunt, I just rolled him. And he he was like so upset. He's like, I played that perfectly. And I'm like, no, you didn't. You should have at least done that. He's still there's still a real chance he could have lost. But he was the meanest. He was the most mean person I have ever met in my life. So, yeah, it was interesting. So,
interesting.
Yeah. But that guy, he definitely got reported. Now it just makes me wish that in the future, at some point, when we all get these smart cars or whatever, and I'm on my commute to work, and some guy road rages against me, that I can go into battle.net and report them to.
Yeah.
There was one guy I had that was so upset at our game that he went as far as to find me on Twitch and figure out that I was a actual person in the Hearthstone community. No. And he sent me rage messages on Twitch because I deleted him immediately. Like, as soon as he started raging and stuff, I said, like, thanks for the fun game or something like that. Like, something really, like, nice just to trigger him even more, you know what I mean? Where you're just like,
right,
you just send like a smiley face, or you're just like GG smiley face as they're starting to rage at you. This man went the next level and found me on Twitch and Twitter and started messaging me through that.
Wasn't that the night that me and Twiz were watching your games with you on Skype?
Yes, it was, actually.
Because I remember you talking about that when it was happening.
Oh my god, it was crazy. It was so funny. But I actually wish I could report those people that do that, because it's actually really annoying.
And now you can.
I'm the kind of person that I can laugh at it up until a certain point, like, but I don't know. Sometimes some people take it way too far.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the point where they start like looking for you online, that's a bit concerning.
Yeah. Kill them with kindness.
I think it's funny if it's like, you're effing lucky and that deck takes no skill. I'm like, whatever, man, flame away. But, you know, there have been times like this last guy, I won't say specifically, but he wanted me to not be here next week, if you're catching my drift. Okay.
Yeah. So he wanted you to go to BlizzCon. All right. What a nice guy.
Bought me a flight to Anaheim. Said go a couple days early. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm okay with raging after games, but like, it's the people that attack me personally.
Yep.
Like that know who you are, that just like attack your, like, I don't want to say your brand, but like, just you as a person. Like that's what's messed up to me.
Yeah.
Like,
totally.
You can be mad at the game, but like, why do you have to be mad at like another human being over something that is a game? It's just so ridiculous.
So last bit of news here before we jump into DreamHack Denver and then going into our strategy segment. This is a little bit of a last minute thing, but we had the Blizzard Invitational Tournament announced. It's a tournament that's going to be played at BlizzCon. It's got 4 teams of 3. You've got the Jungle Giants, Big Time Buccaneers, Grime Street Grifters, and Chillblade Crusaders, with some big names in the Hearthstone community: Tice, Reynad, Dog, RDU, Ali Straza, Kripparrian, Firebat, Jackie Chan. So lots of
wow. You didn't even mention the namesake of the Big Time Buccaneers.
And?
Yeah, you get it.
Big Time
Buccaneers.
I didn't want to like. All right. Anyways,
I love it.
That's going on. The Invitational adventure has some unique formats. So the challenge number 1 is going to be wild. They're going to square off with pre-constructed decks exclusively for the wild format. And then you've got challenge number 2, which is standard. So same thing. And challenge number 3 is excavated treasures. And this is what it says. It says, our adventurers have stumbled across something shiny in the darkness, a stash of valuable cards. A tinny hissing voice in the darkness warns that they shouldn't take the precious cards, but what good adventurer leaves treasure behind? For this challenge, the intrepid explorers will be doing battle with the cards they've just found. Watch some of the best deck builders in Hearthstone try to outwit each other. So this is some sort of sealed format then? Is that what it sounds like to you guys?
Basically, what it sounds like to me is what the reveal streams that Frodan and Yang Wu have done before, where they have pre-constructed decks and they play against each other, and then in those pre-constructed decks, they release and reveal new cards from the next set. I think that's what it's going to be.
That's smart.
Yep.
That's pretty dope. I like that. Any other takes? Anyone want to disagree? Agree with Ray?
Oh, I agree 100%, which is really cool because we might talk about some of this stuff coming up later this episode.
We indeed we might. But let's get the skinny on DreamHack Denver, Ray.
Yeah, so I was at DreamHack Denver. I mean, spoiler alert for anybody who wants to watch it and not know what the results were. Ike ended up winning the event with Dr. J, Dr. Jinky Ninky, coming in second place. If Dr. J had defeated Ike in the grand finals, he would have been the first person ever to win 2 Grand Prix DreamHack championships. So he was really close to creating history there, but fell short. Ike is also an amazing player. He's Zelay's practice partner. He's on, I don't know if this is okay to say, but he's on Team Wiener with Purple and Zelay. And
of course, that's the team.
Crane. Yeah. No, that's what they call it. Look at Purple's Twitter. He shouts it out all the time. He's probably said it on HCT, so it's probably fine to say here, you know. But other notable players who made top 16, it was pretty stacked. Hot Meowth, my teammate, got top 8. Shoop got top 8 as well. He lost to Dr. J. Muzzy got top 8. Monsanto made top 4. There was a 12-year-old who was arguably younger than 12, but had to lie about his age so he could play, named MTG Kid. And outside of that, I mean, the whole top 16 was pretty stacked. It was really cool to watch. I ended up going X3, couldn't make it in. I lost to Ike and or no, I said it again. No, I said Ant before when I was wrong. I lost to Ike. I lost to Teebs on stream, which I felt like I played really well, and I lost to my friend Innovation. So I was close, but no. Close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. So I was. What? This stuff that's the saying, right? You've never heard that?
That is the saying, yeah.
That was the same.
Okay.
We're just like, okay. Great saying, Ray.
The people who played the lineup that I played Priest, Rogue, Druid. Everybody who did well played those 3 decks, first of all. Priest, Rogue, Druid. The 4th deck was the only real factor in the whole tournament. I played Mage, which Ike played. I played it's called Good Mage. It's basically Gunther Mage of the old days where you play freezes, but you also play threats as well. It's not Freeze Mage because it doesn't burn you out like that. It plays big threats, like sometimes you can play Jaina, sometimes you can play Medivh, you play Medivh's Valet. It's just really big, like high-end threats followed by like small-time freezes, so you try to get to late game, slam your big dudes, and then win the game off of that.
Nice.
And I ended up winning with that lineup. Everybody else that did well played either Shaman or Zoo. Zoo did incredibly well during the tournament. Dr. J, Edwin, and Shoop Shu played Paladin, but Dr. Jane Edward played Zoo. Paladin did surprisingly well for the event. I thought Paladin wasn't going to really be a thing, but it ended up doing well statistically because there wasn't that many people playing it, and all the people who did play it did do very well. Shaman was the underperformer, I would say. Shaman seemed to just do really poorly in comparison to the other fourth deck options.
I noticed that when I was watching, it definitely seemed like people were more or less like targeting Shaman as the fourth deck because everyone knew you were going to bring the first three classes. But for Shaman being the fourth, a lot of the decks were really teched specifically against Shaman.
Yeah, nobody's banning Shaman. Everybody's just gunning to beat it because it honestly isn't as strong as it once was right now. And I think that there are just so many better fourth deck options than Shaman. And that really showed at this DreamHack.
How big of a deal do you think that had to Last Hero Standing had to play with that?
Honestly, the format didn't feel like it was a huge deal because the best three decks, Rogue, Druid, and Priest, were just played in every single format. Like Conquest, you just have to play them. They're just so good that you can't not play them. And the fourth deck, I mean, yeah, okay, you can play something like a Quest Mage and then have that to beat Priest, but most people just played what they were comfortable with and felt like was going to be good. I don't think you played Zoo because you wanted to beat a certain deck. I think you just played it because it felt really strong. Like, it didn't have a specific purpose. The good mage deck didn't really have a specific purpose. You just have to build your deck around your ban. Like, I banned Priest, so I didn't play anything that would be particularly good against Priest. I didn't play a whole lot of big threats. I played a lot more anti-aggro cards because I was expecting to play against Zoos and Rogues and stuff like that. I played Skulking Geist because I expected to play against Druids with the Mage. So you just build your decks based off of your ban, but in this case, the format didn't really feel too much different than Conquest. I mean, it obviously play it differently, but in terms of lineup decisions, it didn't feel that way. Last DreamHack, I went all in on the polarizing strategy where I'm playing Quest Mage to specifically beat Priest. I'm playing certain decks, but this one wasn't really the case. Muzzy's really the only person who did that kind of strategy where he played Big Druid, Big Priest. I think he might even played Quest Mage and Pirate Warrior or something like that. He played a really weird lineup. And outside of Muzzy, nobody really played a lineup that was super custom built for the Last Hero Standing format.
Got it. Any other things you wanted to discuss about DreamHack Denver, guys? Cool. All right. Well, let's go into our conversation for the week then. So this week, we wanted to discuss a little bit about Knights of the Frozen Throne, transitioning into the next expansions, doing a little retrospective predictions, expectations. It's going to be a good one. Danny, take us away, man.
Sure. So if Team 5 sticks to their normal release schedule, which they have been doing this year, the expansion will most likely be released November 24th to December 5th, coming up around then. So we wanted to go and touch on some of the things that have happened up to this point with Knights of the Frozen Throne, and just take a look back at that. And from there on in, we might go and start looking at some predictions that we have. And I mean, we even had some of the new information come in today. So let's start off with, I don't know, how do you guys think that Knights of the Frozen Throne was as an expansion in general?
Well, I can tell you that from a tournament perspective, this format felt very, very good. Honestly, I know people give it a lot of crap, especially on Reddit, that, oh, Kaliseth, blah, 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 brainless decks, whatnot. But if you look at the tournament results and you look at the amount that decisions actually played a factor in whether or not somebody ended up winning a series, I would say that skill was probably the biggest it's ever been, like the more important than it's ever been in like a while. It just felt like a very solid tournament format with Knights of the Frozen Throne. It took a little bit to get there because of the nerfs like had to be implemented, but once the nerfs were implemented, it felt really good.
Yeah, there's a lot less RNG that we're seeing. Like you're not seeing as much like effects happening that are changing the course of the game based on if you got like a primordial glyph with an insane spell or something that you got off of Fire Lance. But like people aren't playing those cards right now. They're playing the decks are very much they're so like synergized right now, and that you're not getting you don't have to play those effects. It is like Ray said, it feels a lot more skill based right now, and I think the Death Knights were a really cool addition. And I was kind of skeptical. I thought they were cool, but I was kind of skeptical at first. But I've enjoyed several of the Death Knights. Of course, there's ones that are way more popular than others. At the same time, like the one thing that I don't like, and I hope that they don't continue with on every expansion, is this idea of having 2 legendaries for every class, basically. And the main theme being around these legendary cards that you get with the class, because the first set that we got this year was all about quests. This one was all about Death Knights. It makes me a little afraid that the third one is going to have that same kind of theme where we're going to get 9 legendaries that the entire theme of the set is revolved around.
Do you think that would be... don't you think that's a good thing, though? When you look back at Mean Streets, the meta was based around the 3 tri-class heroes. So you had, what is it? Aya Blackpaw, you had, you had Kazakis, and the decks that, for that expansion at least, all of them were really close because they synergized around the tri-class cards. I think that it was pretty good to have them for all classes, so like the styles of each deck was all different. So it wasn't like, oh, I'm running into this Jade deck, I'm running to this Jade deck, I'm running into a Reno deck. It was more or less I was running into different styles of decks.
In a way, it's good, and in a way, it's bad. Like you said, the themes being around those different cards is good, but just starting out and with the expansion and not getting to play a certain class because you don't have those cards yet feels kind of bad. Whereas before they started doing this, if you didn't have a good majority of the legendaries, you could still play some of these decks because the legendaries weren't as powerful as what they are now. The fact that the legendary cards are getting more powerful in the game is making it tougher for people starting out to be able to play those decks.
Do you think they could have just made like one Death Knight and not printed the rest for the rest of the classes?
I think what they did is absolutely fine for the theme.
You would be losing the theme entirely,
right?
Or making them epics in some other way to like augment. But ultimately, what I'm hearing from you, JR, is that there was too many expensive cards being archetype defining. Basically, you can't run a quest mage without the quest. You just it's physically impossible. It's possible to run a quest mage without whatever an Antonidas. You can make an argument about how good it is, but it would still be a quest mage if it had that quest.
Yeah, and Blizzard has done a great job at getting it so players can get those easier now with the new pack rules on not opening up duplicate legendaries. Is a huge step forward to preventing that. But if you think back at Hearthstone before Journey to Un'Goro and the whole quest mechanic, like to play the big style decks, you didn't need a lot of legendaries unless you wanted to play like Control Warrior or something like that.
Wallet Warrior.
Right.
Yeah.
You didn't really need that, but now it feels like you're gonna need at least one of these big legendaries if you want to build a deck, a top tier deck around something. It is very archetype defining.
Yeah. JR, one point I wanted to make about the whole cost of, or barrier to entry, I guess, is that Edwin and I were actually looking at the DreamHack top 16 deck list, and we noticed something that we had never noticed before, and all of the deck lists, like, combined were about a minimum of, like, 10,000 dust. Like, all the decks, if you wanted to build a tournament lineup, were fairly expensive. There's no cheap tournament lineup like there used to be, where you could just go aggro, like Pirate Warrior, like Zoo,
Even
whatever.
Zoo, yeah.
Like whatever. Like you could make a really cheap lineup. Like when I first started off playing on EU, I was able to enter a tournament and play a Pirate Warrior deck where the only legendary I needed was Patches, and that was it. And maybe Leroy. Like I could probably even get away without playing Leroy. But you were able to actually play in tournaments without having to go all in on spending money. But nowadays, I feel like that is much more difficult.
It's also a really interesting thing, right? Because if you're printing legendaries and you get them, you want to be able to play them, right? So you want them to be powerful. At the same time, right now, like especially right now, you'll notice that sometimes there's just dead legendaries. And that, I mean, honestly, I think that sucks just as much as two powerful ones that you don't have, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's more I don't know what's more tilting. Sorry, I'll let you. I was
No worries.
just going to say the one thing that's really tilting to me. I don't know if it's not having the right legendary or not getting a legendary, or getting a legendary and it's Pyros or something, where I guess Pyros isn't that bad. He saw play, but even
played him.
One of the things that I started to notice was that the legendaries that were really good were class specific as the expansions have come out. Whereas earlier in the game, when you were in like GVG, like all the really good legendaries were neutral. So if you got something like in the classic set, if you get Sylvanas is good in any deck that you get. So you can go and craft Sylvanas. You can put it in a bunch of decks. But for like the Death Knights and the quests, if you want to get a really good one of those, you can only put it in one class. Yep. So I think that's one of the things that I've observed.
That's something else I was going to touch on, is by doing the double class cards now, you've reduced the number of neutral legendaries. So you've reduced the number of a legendary that I opened that can be used in several different decks as well.
I think they're doing that on purpose, though, because it seems like they're trying to stray away from every deck's quote-unquote endgame being the exact same.
Yeah, it homogenizes, absolutely.
And I think they're succeeding in that, because a lot of decks are using those endgame threats that are really class-specific. Mainly, like, Warlock is now using the Gul'dan. I mean, sure, there's the Lich King. The Lich King is arguably the best neutral legendary, but that's really not even that played at all right now. It's pretty fringe.
Well, you've got Prince Keleseth and you've got Patches.
Oh yeah, for sure. I honestly don't think that. I don't think that they expected Keleseth to have.
We didn't.
I mean, we didn't. I don't think anybody did. I don't even think Blizzard expected it. So.
Well, part of that too was the nerfing of the cards. Do we want to address that? How the nerf impacted the meta? Do we think that it's a good approach for Blizzard to design their set knowing that they're going to go halfway through the expansion and change things? Is that a good design approach, or was it more of a emergency thing where they're like, okay, the meta's going somewhere we didn't expect, we're going to go and rein it in?
I don't think that was planned, was it?
Yeah,
like that wasn't.
No, there's a 0% chance that they would print Spreading Plague with the intentions of nerfing it the next month. There's no way that you do that. Like, you just make it come out as a 6-mana card if you honestly
I don't think he's saying that.
I'm not saying they did that, but they maybe gave a little bit more leeway to some cards where they're like, Spreading Plague could be 5 or 6 mana, and then they put it at 5 just to be a little bit more adventurous. Because I feel that they were definitely adventurous with some of the cards. Do you think they were a little bit more? And then they're like, we can go back later and fix things up depending on how everyone picks up on it.
So I think like to kind of tail off on, I don't think that they print any card with the intention of changing it, let alone a perceived timeline of when they would change that. I just don't think they would do that. I do think they take risks with cards, and I do think that they take risks with cards saying that at the end of the day, we're not reprinting cards, we're changing a line of code. And so at the end of the day, making fun cards is probably better than making broken cards, because broken cards can be fixed, but you don't really change a card because to make it more fun necessarily if it's not breaking the game itself.
I think what a lot of what happened and why you see cards like Kalitas being so popular and people don't like it anymore is because when they first released the set, when they first released these cards in the metagame that they were released in, they were not broken by any means. I don't think these nerfs were in any way on their on the slate. And once they did end up doing the nerfs, that's when you see cards like Keleseth and the like come into the metagame. So I don't think that they originally printed these cards with the metagame in mind, like being how it is right now. But with that said, I actually don't think the meta's bad or there are broken cards or anything like that. I think it's fine.
Honestly, it was raise down, audio listeners. Just kidding. He's fine. Ray is okay. Honestly, for me, the biggest struggle was not the meta. It was just the ladder itself. I know people are getting sick of hearing it, but I got so sick of playing 200, 300 games a month to get the same 4, 5 golden cards in a card back.
Hey, man, I'm going to level with you. I haven't gotten Legend in 2 months now because of just the principle that ladder is not good practice for tournaments, and I would rather spend my time being productive and playing in tournaments or even making content that isn't streaming than to waste my time playing ladder where it's not helping me improve as a player in any way. Yep. And my ranks don't actually matter at all. Like getting rank 1 legend or finishing high legend this season gets you nothing. At the most, it gets you a good tweet, and that's it.
Sweet and screenshot.
A sweet tweet, bro. That's what you're getting for your high legend finish.
And I think that's a good segue into what we might be predicting at BlizzCon. Because like what you said there is like ranked player like that right now. We've talked about this for a long time. Like we talked about this when Kevin was still on the show, is that the ladder system just isn't fun. And it hasn't been fun forever, since maybe the second month of Hearthstone's history.
I don't know. I think it was. I think ladder was fun. Is fun for me when there's incentives to play it. Like if I am playing ladder, knowing that I am qualifying for a huge tournament because of it, I find that fun. Even if the grind itself isn't fun, playing at high legend when there are actual physical things on the line, that's fun to me. But
I feel like BlizzCon. I feel like this BlizzCon is when we're gonna see something new as far as for ranked play.
I agree.
Like,
we will.
I think we're gonna see something. I don't know what it is. I'm hoping for tournament mode.
I highly doubt that.
But I highly doubt it.
Oh dear.
See,
but we're only in 2017.
They have been hinting that there might be a ladder change at some point.
They said that. They literally said that.
Yeah, but I'm just curious if they're going to do it for this expansion or the next one. In my mind, they're going to, because they've announced it already, it's going to be one of the two. So it'll be interesting. It'll be either at the start of this expansion or at the start of next year, which is like the start of the new year. So like the Hearthstone year. So I mean, those are 2 times when I think they might go and do that.
I mean, they haven't announced anything.
They did. Ben Brode says, yeah.
No, Ben Brode
talked about them working.
Right, they said that they were
going and trying out things, but they haven't announced that they're doing it.
They did do it. They did do secret changes already. Well, they're not like secret, but they weren't like in patch notes where they messed around. There's been certain points where they messed around with like Legend MMR and such, where they put it so that you could only queue into somebody within 100 ranks of you in Legend rank, which made queue times go up significantly. There was like one point where if you were top 100 Legend, you had to wait like 10 minutes per game, and people complained about it. And they
welcome to Wild.
at first they denied it. Ixar said that that this wasn't a thing, and then like a week later they were like, oh, we checked with our devs, and that they tweaked the algorithm a little bit, and they changed it back to what it used to be, because the way what they changed it to is bad. And then Ben Brode said that they were working on like ladder or thinking about it. So it leads me to think that with all of this kind of hype surrounding 2018 being good for competitive Hearthstone, and Che saying things like they want to encourage more like Fireside Gathering, more lands, I'm expecting that there's probably going to be more majors next year as well, or like a regional type tournament, something like that.
But when they do that, though, like if they're talking about increasing the competitive play and having these Fireside Gatherings, that leads me to believe that even though we said it's entirely not possible, that leads me to believe that tournament mode could be a thing. Because imagine Fireside Gatherings having, to be able to run their own tournaments, or maybe being able to have something in play where you're at a Fireside Gathering, and if you're getting disconnected all the time, you can play a game back to where you got disconnected from.
That is something that could be really cool, where it's only at like a Fireside Gathering or a tournament location, because that they already have the whole, when you're at a Fireside Gathering, you can join the special brawl or whatever. Right. So they already have implemented things that are specifically unique to Fireside Gathering. So I could see that being a real thing, but I don't think it'll be something like a tournament mode like you would see on other clients, where you can just enter a tournament or play from home.
I think maybe that's us having different definitions of tournament mode as well. And because I think everybody has a different opinion of what a tournament mode is. And just to be clear, when I think of tournament mode, I think of going to an event and being able to lock in my decks and have the admin being able to easily check to make sure that my decks are, locked in or whatever. Because right now you don't have that ability at those events. Like, they just kind of take your word for it, and they might, be able to look over your shoulder and make sure your cards are in there that you say are in there. And, later you can swap it out if you really wanted to. But being able to have those tools for an admin at an event like that is what I personally mean by a tournament mode.
That would be a huge step forward as well. And if they're going to implement it, like Danny was saying, how he wasn't sure when they were going to implement it, it would definitely be towards the new Hearthstone HCT season, which starts in January. So if they were to be implemented, it would be implemented in the patch that takes place closest to January 1st, because that's what they're going to focus on. That's when their big overhaul is going to happen. It'll probably be announced before then, but that's when it's going to start.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Just going back to the ladder for just 1 second, humor me for a moment, and then we'll move on here. The way, Jeff Kaplan for Overwatch had a really interesting perspective, and it used to be more incentives for ranked play. People wanted more expensive for competitive mode. And Jeff basically said, we want people to be in competitive mode because they want to be in competitive mode, not because they get this or that. And I like that philosophy, right? There's either two ways. Like, you have the WoW way, where you do a bunch of unfun things to do one big fun thing and get huge prizes at the end, grinding out gear and mats and dungeons and all that stuff to get to the rating or the highest end content and be able to say you did it. Hearthstone doesn't really have that right now. All your games up to Legend are kind of virtually meaningless, right? It's once outside of winning more than you losing. So on the flip side, I think of PUBG. PUBG is something that has the most disappointing payoff in video game history. It's a line of letters that say winner, winner, chicken dinner. After you spend 30 minutes looting, shooting, a lot of running and stuff like that. And they found a way to make those little meticulous things fun. And it's not necessarily about the payoff. It's kind of doing all the little things up until then. And I feel like Hearthstone, that's what they want with Hearthstone. They want those games to be fun, that it doesn't really matter if you're ranked 10 or 5 or 1. It's just fun to play the game. And I think, to JR, kind of to your point, I think that's what they're going to try and focus on when we see some sort of ladder rework. Because I don't think it's going to be, I don't think incentivizing ladder more is going to be as fun as making the games more fun to play. And making people who don't need to, make them play less of them.
Yeah, I think I've thought about this for a while, and I think one of the things that they need to do is right now, that if you want to go play Hearthstone, you go play ranked. Because why would you play anything else? Ranked has all of the rewards to it. There's no point in playing casual. And if you want to play casual, people are gonna be just over there practicing meta decks or whatever anyway. So there's there's a zero incentive to go play casual mode in Hearthstone. And I think that's one of the problems in the game, is that if I want to go goof off and play silly decks or whatever, then I should be able to go to casual and have something that entices me to actually do that. And that way, people that want to play ranked mode, make ranked mode more hardcore. Not make it a grind fest, but make it either more rewarding for the time put in, or harder, or something something that only competitive players would be very interested in, while still rewarding people that want to just play the game for fun.
Yeah. There is only competitive reward for the top 1% who are actually trying to qualify for HCT. That's the only competitive value that the game really has. And I think the incentive is enough, because HCT has a huge prize pool. The issue with HCT is the actual running of it, in my opinion, how you get your points, how much points are worth, blah blah blah, the open cup, blah, all that stuff. That's a whole nother talk. That's not something I want to get into, but that in and of itself, I think, is a big enough incentive for the top 1% competitive players, people who are trying to make, I don't want to say trying to make money, because that's not their intention. Their intention is just to be one of the best in the world. The people who are trying to make a name for themselves, they have enough incentive to play competitively. It's the people who want to try really hard at the game, but don't want to commit their life to it, basically. Maybe not their life, but
I think a big chunk of people, not even try really hard, but think of, somebody, think of any other game. Let's say World of Warcraft. Great one, where I want to get good enough to where I'm max level. I've got some gear, I can put some time into it, and I can see some payoff for the time put in. But at the same time, I'm not saying I'm going to be, a mythic progression raider by any means and try to, do this 24/7. I think, I just think that there's more that they can be doing for people who just want to play and have fun, but aren't playing or aren't having fun.
Yeah. I mean, Overwatch does a good job with that. I think the prestige of hitting platinum or diamond makes you feel really good for some reason. At least for me, hitting those ranks, it means something to me. Whereas hitting rank 5 or rank 4, 3, 2, 1 legend, it means literally nothing. Maybe that's just because of how used to Hearthstone I am, or how much I play it.
Just be the numbers too, right? Because it's you set the legend goal as the goal, and then you have 5 and then 10 and 15, and that there's higher places to go. I mean, people will be happy about going to rank 5, reaching dad legend and settling there, but I mean, knowing that the progression goes to legend, and legend is typically a capstone that you go for, I don't know, having that one specific goal is just, instead of having whatever, I think just renaming it might have some influence on it as well.
Yeah, I think a part of it is like you're never proud to say, or at least for me, I'm never like, yeah, I got ranked 5 last season in Hearthstone. I never heard somebody say that, like be proud of that. But I've heard plenty of people say,
oh, we
like,
have
that they're
multiple
like, platinum.
emails and tweets that would say that. But your personal best is at the top, right? It's like imagine Ray, all through this time, you've only gotten to rank 7. Rank 5 is all of a sudden a great thing. Remember the first time you hit a rank 1 on ladder or a top 50 finish, right? And now it's normal to you, right? It's milestones and it's progression. The problem is that a couple of animated stars in a game that is at its most polarized is 60-40 doesn't feel like progression. Doesn't feel like I'm getting better.
I don't know. I just feel happy when I hit Diamond in Overwatch. I feel like I don't put in a whole lot of like time comparatively, but I feel like when I do that, it feels like it just feels good to hit Diamond. It's like I got there, I did it.
Literally the rank 5 of Overwatch, just for the record.
And no, I understand that it's not good by any means, like in a pro sense, but it feels good as a casual Overwatch.
It's not competitive. It's good. It's not competitive.
Right, but it feels like it is to me.
Yeah.
But with Hearthstone, when I first started playing, like it was either get legend or nothing matters. Like get legend and everything else doesn't matter. Like because that's the only thing that was glorified was legend.
I would love for them to just have like to start splitting the ladder up into like little leagues. Imagine there being a legend or a legend in the rank 10 to 15 bracket similarly today. And for me to try to shoot to be the best rank, and it wouldn't be rank 10. They would call it gold. I'm on gold ladder, right?
And your rank, maybe you're rank 5 on gold. And that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Because you feel like, in the rank that I'm in, I'm one of the best, even though I'm in a lower ranking tier.
I also feel that the month-long season is something that really screws with people because of the consistent reset. Everyone always thinks that you're consistently putting time to grind into the game to get to whatever rank you normally get, whereas in other games the seasons are longer. So do you think that season length has anything to influence on that? I think that season length is one of the real reasons that people get tired of the Hearthstone grind, because maybe you'll go and you'll put, instead of doing it over time where you'll put some time in here or there, some people will go and grind really quick at the start of the month. Some people will try to reach the end of the month, and because they haven't had time to do something, they'll push a lot at the end of the month.
I think that the season resetting every month makes it feel like more of a grind. It makes it feel like everything that you do in that month just means so much less because it's just going to reset next month. If I spend 3 or 4 months or whatever the Overwatch season is getting to my rank, it feels like I put in a lot of time and a lot of effort, and it just feels good that it pays off in that nice like diamond rank. But in Hearthstone, it feels like you're grinding every month, you're getting a legend, and it feels good, whatever. To me, it doesn't mean anything anymore.
I don't think it's the length. I think the length is fine if they didn't push you back so far, right? Because I mean, even to your point, right? Yeah. Overwatch is 2.5 to 3 month seasons, and even then, you get to diamond. You don't start back at bronze the next season. You play 10 placement games to make sure that you are roughly where you are. And you're usually within about 150 to 200 points one way or another from where you were last season. So it didn't feel like everything you did.
Games.
Yeah, even if you bomb them completely, you're not bronze or anything. You're probably like gold at worst.
I don't think and that's where I think Hearthstone's different, where I don't think you can accurately place people, but just based off of a subset of games. It's just, especially 10 with a 60-40 flip. I don't think there's very easy measurables in Overwatch for a player who plays well and who doesn't. There's not a very great measurable for, okay, let's say 15. We'll say 15 competitive decks, and let's just say 20 different types of skill level players. Or whatever, 25, one per rank, or you can say 5. There's just way more ambiguity between what makes skill and what doesn't. MMR helps. You can associate an MMR supposedly there, but I don't know how placements to get into that system would go.
I think it would be fine to have placement matches as long as you don't get sent back just completely to rank 16 again. Like, that's an improvement. If I can get like top legend and then my MMR is helping me get higher after my placements. So if like I finish rank 1 legend and I go 0-10 in my placements, I expect to be no less than rank 5 and maybe even higher because I got to rank 1 legend. But if I finish like rank 2000 legend, then I'm fine with being set back to rank whatever if I do poorly in the placements.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot. We can go on to this for a long time. We actually got to get out of here. I want to do a prediction episode next week and talk very specifically about what we are expecting to see from Blizzard at BlizzCon, because I think we touched on it, but I don't think we got to go as in depth with it as we want. And we're going to be gone. So myself, Ray, and JR, we're going to be at BlizzCon. So we're going to do a show next week.
Next week we won't be.
That's so I'm saying. We're going to be here next week, do our pre-BlizzCon show. And then sounds like, Danny, you're going to have a little special.
Yeah, I might throw a little bit of a wild special. I've contacted a couple top wild players, and we might get some going. We might have something pretty good set up for you guys.
So make sure to tune in for that.
There's a very small chance that I'll be able to be on the after BlizzCon show, like a 5% chance.
I'm already telling you no. Let's just let Danny do the thing. You drink, do whatever you need to do. We're not going to be there. We're going to let Danny do his thing. We might do like a post BlizzCon wrap-up show, because usually, depending on how quickly it looks like the stuff that they announce go into effect, we might do like an extra show on like a Thursday to just kind of, a little 45-minute, let's get caught up, and then go from there.
Well,
so.
we might also potentially, I haven't talked to Ray about this yet, or John. We can also possibly do just a quick little video at BlizzCon talking about our stuff there on that Friday.
Oh, I was thinking like Sunday, like after. No,
talking about Friday after the announcements.
Okay.
You guys can all sort that out.
We'll sort it out later.
Anyways, let's go ahead and get out of here. And to do that, first, we do want to thank our well-met legends, The Real Ben and Corel. Thank you so much for your support of the show. I also do want to welcome Centrifuge to the Patreon family. Thank you so much for your support of the show. We really appreciate it. If you like Well Met and want to support us, a cup of coffee a month, whatever your heart desires. Sorry, go ahead.
This is really funny. I met some of our Patreons in Denver, and one of the people that listens to this show, he actually got me a cup of coffee every single morning at DreamHack, and I was like, oh my god, you are just the most amazing person in the world, and I love you.
That's awesome. Love that. Love you, whoever you are who did that.
It was Drunken Monk.
He's the best. He's the best. He's been a well-met super fan for a long time. Yeah. Let's patreon.com/wellmetpodcast and 5-star iTunes reviews. They mean a lot to us. If you like the show, head on over to iTunes. Leave us a 5-star review. We'll mispronounce your name on the show. No new ones this week. But thank you for everyone who have reviewed it in the past. Let's do some shout outs for the week. Danny, shout outs for the week, and where can people find you?
Sure, you can find me on Twitter, DannyDonuts_HS, and on Twitch at DannyDonuts45.
Cool. And what about you, JR? I couldn't decide who I was going to go to there. JR.
I just want to give a shout out to all of the people that contacted me in the last couple weeks that wanted to go and asking to write for BlizzPro. I still am taking those applications, by the way. If you want to send in to jrcook@blizzpro.com, you want to write for BlizzPro. If you have not heard from me though, don't worry about it. I'm gonna try to respond to everybody after BlizzCon. Right now things are just busy, so if you haven't heard from me, you will get a message from me at some point. It'll just probably be after BlizzCon when it happens.
Cool. And then Ray, what about you? Shout outs for the week. Where can people find you?
Shout outs to all of the people who listened to this podcast that came up and said hi to me this weekend at DreamHack Denver. Honestly, I was surprised by the amount of people, and everybody was pretty amazing. So awesome. I was really happy, and it was really cool to just meet people in real life. And definitely, once they said hi, they learned that I am the least intimidating person and pretty easy to talk to. But there were some people that were like kind of like afraid to say hi, and I was like, whoa, like that's kind of weird to me. Because like once you start talking to me, the opposite.
I know we can't get him to shut up.
I understand why. I'd probably be afraid of talking to you too.
Oh yeah, I mean it has nothing to do with my attitude. It's probably just the looks. Pretty scary looking.
All right.
Yeah, I'm dressed up as Ray for Halloween this year.
Oh my gosh. Yes, please. We should do like a Halloween episode where we all dress up like somebody else.
Oh,
I can be Danny and always have my webcam right at my neck.
All right, I gotta get a Royals hat.
I'm not even wearing a Royals hat today.
I know, but
it's you. It is you.
But it's you.
And you can find Ray on Twitter at PJ_Racy, on Twitch at Racy591. Right.
Thank you. Yes.
Got you. As for me, you can find me everywhere at Kick Tripod. I'm streaming quite a bit of Destiny. It's Destiny 2 time. And I am looking for more people to play with. So if you have any interest in Destiny 2 on PC, want to play, hit me up on Twitter or in our Well-Met Discord, wellmet.blizzpro. No, that's not Well-Met. Discord.me/Well-Met podcast. There it is. We got it. Anyways, thank you guys for joining us for episode 129 of Well-Met. We record at 7 p.m. Pacific time on Mondays, except today is a Tuesday. You can find more awesome Hearthstone content throughout the week at hearthstone.blizzpro.com. Tweet us at Well-Met Podcast or send us your emails to wellmet@blizzpro.com with comments, questions, and ideas you have for the show. Big thank you to Jake Butno for our music. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.